And it's one of the reasons why the election of 2020 became riddled with an unprecedented number of serious allegations of fraud and irregularities all over the country. National polls, as has been said, indicate that a huge percentage of Americans now have serious doubts about not just the outcome of this presidential contest, but also the future reliability of our election system itself. Since we are convinced that the election laws in Arizona and some other key states were changed in this unconstitutional manner, we have a responsibility today. The slates of electors produced under those modified laws are thus unconstitutional. They are, quote, not regularly given or lawfully certified as required by the Electoral Count Act, and they're invalid on their face. That's just the conclusion that you have to reach. Given these inescapable facts, we believe we have no choice today but to vote to sustain objections to those slates of electors. Mr. Raskin and others today have cited the 12th Amendment, and they cite Article 2, Section 1, Clause 3. Remember that, Clause 3, and they've asserted that Congress has only one narrow role today. We're just supposed to count the electoral votes that have been submitted. But those advocates have overlooked a critical first principle. Their assertion is only true so long as Congress first is convinced that the electoral votes that are produced by a process that violated the Constitution is there. We got to get through Clause 2 of Article 2, Section 1 before we get to Clause 3 is the point. Look, in our unique system, Congress is positioned as the last bulwark in a presidential election to ensure the Constitution has been followed. Indeed, in just two decades ago, the Supreme Court spoke to this. They plainly acknowledged this important deliberative role of Congress. It was the famous Bush v. Gore litigation that everybody remembers from 2000. In a per curiam opinion, meaning all 9 justices, it was unanimous. They noted strict adherence to the provisions of the Electoral Count Act may, quote, create a safe harbor for a state insofar as congressional consideration of its electoral votes is concerned. However, they said, unanimously, the court said, since Title III, Section 5 contains a principle of federal law that would assure finality of the state's determination if they followed all the prescriptions there, if a legislature, the will of the legislature is attempted to be changed by a state court, that is a problem. That, they said, Congress might deem to be a change in the law. That's precisely why we're here right now. Go read Bush v. Gore and you'll see this. Chief Justice William Rehnquist and Scalia and Thomas joined in a concurring opinion 8 days later, and they reiterated this point. A significant departure from the legislature's scheme for appointing presidential electors presents a federal question. It's a big problem for us, and it's one we cannot get around. That's why we're here. I urge my colleagues today to look at the facts, to follow the law, and follow our congressional oath. We're supposed to support and defend the Constitution. That's what we do here today. I urge everyone to do the right thing, and I yield back.
The woman's time has expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from Arizona, the Dean of the Arizona delegation, seek recognition?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition to the objection.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This exercise in futility that Congress is undertaking is at the behest of Republican members of Congress. The effort to overturn the presidential election and grant Donald Trump 4 more years is the motivation behind it. And to continue a baseless, conspiracy-fueled threat to our democracy makes no sense.